I am so happy that I'm finally able to talk to you guys about the Find X9 Pro from OPPO. This has been a device that I've been truly enjoying using. I've been a big fan of OPPO devices for many years, and I've been using the Find X8 Pro for many months and jumping in and out of it as I'm reviewing other devices. But that device actually carried with me for many months, and I really appreciate the aesthetics, the design, the benefits of ColorOS, and what OPPO has been doing with their devices and their photography and their collaboration with Hasselblad, which they renewed during the summer. So in this review, we're going to be covering the OPPO Find X9 Pro. We're going to be covering the photography kit, as well as the PGY Tech grip that was also part of the photography kit, depending on where you're getting it. But I also want to share with you guys my experience of how has the improvements, the new aesthetic look, as well as the change in design, since we no longer have the slider, the notification slider on our devices from OPPO, but we now actually have a very interesting AI built-in feature into the system. This is TK, and this is the OPPO Find X9 Pro with photography kit review. Let's check it out and see what makes it so special. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos for you on the channel. So in front of us we have the Find X9 Pro. This is the European model, and in the middle we have the OPPO Hasselblad teleconverter kit. This allows us to use an optical lens, an OPPO and Hasselblad collaboration made lens that works with the kit that comes in here to allow us to use the telephoto lens with an even bigger reach using optical glass. So meaning we're getting optical fidelity without losing any quality using this extension. Of course, the actual kit, the official kit that I saw at the launch event, also included the MagCam phone grip. This is made by PGY Tech. There is a special edition made that comes directly with this, with more of a reddish button, but for the most part, it's the exact same kit. So I picked this up myself. This was not sent to me, but these two devices were sent to me over from OPPO. So very nice. The model that I have here is the European model. That's one thing to keep in mind. And as you can see here from the thinness of the box, there is no charger in the box, although the device will charge at 80-watt fast charging. No case in the box as well. Here we obviously have some of the other experiences that you're able to get. The OPPO Watch series, the OPPO Pad series, and of course the Inco X. So the watch, the pad, and the earbuds. Also some of the other options available from them. But in the box, you're pretty much going to get the phone, a USB-A to USB-C cable for data and charging, as well as the USB-C to USB-A converter to be able to actually transfer your data from another device. And of course, this is the version that I received. As you can see, it's a beautiful color. We have the Mind key here that's positioned on the left, where it's also programmable for different function. On the top, we have a microphone. On the right side, we have the volume rocker, as well as the power button. The camera button here is still there. You can double press it to launch the camera. And of course, you can focus on the actual zoom by using it on the side. Before we get to the MagCam phone grip, I do want to share exactly what comes in the box here. Now, the first thing you get in the box is an L bracket mount directly for the lens. This one is very easy. You loosen it up, you attach it to the lens itself, and of course mounts on a tripod, provides you leverage and of course a good positioning for the lens. The next we also get is obviously a mount or a plate to be able to mount up on the case that they also sent us, and this is a carbon fiber case that matches it. For the most part, it has a nice little guard. You can definitely see the dot here is for us to align it. Once you put it on, you know exactly where this lens comes in, and this becomes where we mount our lens over the telephoto lens on the Find X9 Pro. The case is very small, it's very thin actually, and it has MagSafe configuration. And this is where the PGY Tech phone grip becomes very handy, because this is the accessory that OPPO decided to make a full functional option for this. It not only mounts correctly, it aligns correctly, also gives us the ability of actually leveraging using just the bottom case here for an experience. But the grip itself has a 3000 milliampere battery, leveraging the 7000 that we have on the phone. So when you confirm that you have 3 plus 7, say it with me, it's 10,000 milliampere on the go to be able to get all your content that you want. Of course, all of this doesn't mean anything if we don't have the lens itself. So here is the lens. It's a Hasselblad and OPPO collaboration. We have the same proprietary mount that we have in here, the nice little guide here for the lens, as you know, with Hasselblad. Of course, the nice Hasselblad orange colors here. Unfortunately, this is primarily for grip. It is not an adjustable lens. But I do love the fact that they decided to go with more of a squeeze option in here. This is going to add the 3.28x telephoto lens extension to our existing telephoto lens on the Find X9 Pro. Inserting our device is pretty straightforward. Make sure you align the lens first so that it doesn't actually scrape or anything. And then, of course, just go down and make sure you align it directly in and let it insert itself. It's very thin, absolutely fantastic, and I love the fact that it doesn't actually add that much thickness to the device, but it still provides us that protection. The grip becomes absolutely fantastic. You can go ahead and lock it in. You'll see right there. It actually sits very nicely. Great for any kind of formal or basically format of content capture that you want to put. But what I love about it is that even with the lens, let's go ahead and take out the cap on the back, align the guide here directly to the dot, and you're ready to shoot. It's absolutely fantastic. You can just double press here, turn on the camera, And what I really like about the grip is that the top part is actually removable. It becomes a wired, basically a wireless shutter. And it also gives us the ability, basically, once you turn it on, give it a second, it'll connect via Bluetooth. You pair it directly into your device, and you're able to switch between the different modes in here. So you can go between photo and video. And of course, you're also able to basically zoom in. You can see here it's changing the focal length and then zoom out. If I want to switch over to video, swipe up, go back in. If you want to use it directly back on here, becomes very nice and easy. Of course, comes with a nice little lanyard here in case we want to make sure that it doesn't fall. But you can definitely see the magnet here is super strong. Like, it works absolutely great. And again, if I want to be able to position it this way to get more of a standard format, it works great. The one thing you do need to remember once you're using the extension is you do need to switch over to the teleconverter lens option in here. And that allows us to essentially get the image to show up correctly. We're able to use it in photo as well as in video, so you're able to record with it. Although I will say 4K 60 is the maximum resolution we're able to go. We're not able to go to the 4K 120, where we do have that functionality available when we're in normal. Well, let's go into normal video. Here, you'll notice I'm able to go to 4K 120. Telephoto, I'm able to go to 4K 120. But when we go with the converter lens, 4K 60 is going to be the maximum. The last accessory that I really appreciate about this grip specifically is because you notice there is actually a ring on the outside, and that means I can actually leverage MagSafe accessories similar to this. This is essentially a mirror with a light lens that I'm actually able to leverage and provide myself a little bit more light when I'm wanting to shoot. So it becomes really nice. Also really good for framing myself. It comes with a nice little extension. This again was not part of the actual kit, but the main benefit of having something like this and the fact that this grip provides us MagSafe configuration to grab the phone, but also gives us the ability of using a light extension like this, such a professional level kit. This is crazy, crazy level or next level experience. So if you're looking to geek out your phone, and again, at the end of the day, I can just remove this, push the lens on here on the side, remove the adapter, and my phone is working like a regular phone. At the end of the day, this becomes my professional level camera. The first thing that'll probably strike us right now, first and foremost, obviously, is the design change. We went away from the circular lens configuration that we had on the back with the Find X8 Pro, and now we have more of a square configuration on the top left. Now, from a shooting perspective, this obviously fits the experience that you're trying to shoot. You're going to basically double press, access the camera, you can change the configuration in here and start shooting, taking pictures, taking videos, and it's leveraged correctly. We also have a 200 megapixel camera sensor now that was also one of the new improvements that they did on this device. But the biggest departure, I would say, overall is the aesthetic look. The white color is absolutely fantastic, although it's a different pattern than what we had with the Find X8 Pro. This was unique. Almost no two devices had the same pattern. It was absolutely fantastic. Of course, on the left side, we still have the volume rock and the power button. Of course, you'll notice that the camera sliding button is still positioned on the left here, although a little bit more prominent and easy for us to see here on the right side. Now on the left side, this is where things change a little bit. We still have the ability of using the functionality of the alert slider that we've had, and that came over from OnePlus devices many years ago. But now what we have essentially is a button configuration that's connected to Mindspace. That's part of their UI and the system level that we have. It's customizable, again, to work exactly as the notification here, but for the most part, it's a button. It's no longer a slider. Something to keep in mind. On the top, pretty much the same experience overall, just what we're getting here. And then of course on the bottom, dual SIM tray, eSIM support, stereo speakers, USB-C, video out over USB-C. Absolutely fantastic. All of that stuff still runs. Now let's talk about the specifications of what we're getting here. We talked about the 7500 milliampere battery that we have in here. We have obviously wireless and wired charging, 80 and 50. And of course, we also have the ability of using PD charging up to 50 watts at this point as well. So if you have a PD charger, you'll be able to charge up your device up to 50 watts using a PD charger. So if you don't have your SuperVOOC one. But if you do have the SuperVOOC, 80 watts is going to be the maximum capability. Now on the camera stack that we have in back here, we have some upgraded experience, absolutely. The main sensor is a 50 megapixel LYT 898 that is going to be powering our main sensor experience in here. The ultra-wide is a Samsung 5K JN5 sensor at a 50 megapixel camera experience. Now the telephoto, this is where it goes crazy. It's a Samsung S5K HP5 sensor at 1/1.56 inch. It's about a 7mm focal length. And of course, using the extender that we have, the teleconverter experience here, it definitely takes it into the next level. We also have a 2-color camera that allows us to get really good color calibration on this. And the front-facing camera here is a 5K JN5 at 50 megapixel, and it is basically a punch hole camera. The display itself is a 6.78 inch display, an AMOLED display at 120 Hertz, and this one's going to give us a 450 ppi. Now the brightness on this can go all the way up to 3600 nits, which is absolutely great. Of course, we have 120 Hertz, 10-bit color, of course, depth in here, and of course DC dimming, and a lot of great experiences. I'm actually running a custom launcher on this. This is Nova Prime, and it works great, absolutely great. super fantastic as far as the experience in here. Notification access. You have access obviously here on the left side. On the right side, we have the toggles. Launching with ColorOS 16, that is actually not a beta version that's currently available for earlier generations. So this is the Find X9 Pro. The model that I have has 512 gigs of internal storage. It has 16 gigs of RAM with an expandable 12 gigs using the storage configuration, powered by the brand new Dimensity 9500, a 7500 milliampere battery in here. This is a silicon carbon battery. It is absolutely crazy that we have in here. And of course, the camera system is powered by the Lumo camera system. As we talked, 50 on the front, 50, 50, and 200 on the back, and that provides us the main experience. Running the latest version of their software release pre-launch, which is the .216, so ColorOS 16.216 as the version of the operating system. Just for reference, the model number is CPH2791. Again, 6.7-inch Pro XDR display with support with eye care. And of course, we have the performance booster, which is the CPU visualization. Now, just for reference real quick, here we have the ColorOS 15 on Android 15 you're using on the Find X8 Pro. Again, with their balanced profile, they were giving us about 2156. Here on the Find X9 Pro, we're doing 2707. And then when we jump over into the performance boost mode, you can see here that we jump over to 3068, almost 3100, and here we have 2886. Now the multi-core does actually get a little bit close, but that's more so, I think, based on the version of the software that I have. I'm assuming that this performance will get even better as we get more software updates. This is again running the latest software update pre-launch. Now, of course, as far as the speed test, I just want to give you guys a quick reference. This is on T-Mobile in the Los Angeles area. As you can see here, I was clocking in on 5G sub-6 connectivity, 486 here as a maximum. These top two speeds, just for reference, these were speed tests done on my home Wi-Fi. That's where you'll see the Wi-Fi signal on the side. But the 5G connectivity tested at slightly different times, as you can see, running at about 557 maximum down. I was able to even clock in even more on other devices that ran the 9500. But overall, very compatible, very nicely set up. And of course, upload speeds are crazy. This is actually much, like almost 4 times as fast as my home Wi-Fi, my home internet's upload speed max. Should be able to upload my videos straight on my device from now on. So we kind of took a real quick, brief look at the camera system. Overall, the main benefit here is that all of the main features that you saw on the Find X8 Ultra are here. Now, we don't have the same sensor, but we definitely have a leveraged experience that is brought into what we have in here. So first and foremost, we have HDR, Dolby Vision built in here. You'll notice the moment you turn it on, it switches on to that functionality. You also have the ability of jumping into master mode with the different filters that we had, the Vivid, the Clear, the Emerald. All of those experiences are built in directly into the camera, and you can customize them and it'll save that for you. Now, Pro mode, just for reference, you can just jump directly in here and you can customize all of the different elements in here. By default, it's on auto, but you can definitely jump into Pro mode within master mode. Video mode, straightforward. You can customize it, change the experience. We actually have all the way up to 4K 120 frames per second here. We do not have 8K. OPPO believes that the experience should be leveraged on what most people are going to be using. I personally agree that 120 frames per second on 4K is much more worth it for me than 8K, which I almost never ever shoot for unless I'm demonstrating something. But the benefit from here is that we can do 4K 60 on the ultra-wide, on the main sensor, as well as the telephoto. And if we use the teleconverter kit, we can go all the way to 4K 60. The front-facing camera is pretty much the exact same experience, although we have a few different settings in here because at its widest is a 0.8, and you can do the standard focal length and of course a little bit more punched in with a lossless experience. But you also are able to shoot in Dolby Vision, which is absolutely great. So the experience is very much leveraged there. Photography, we talked about it. We also have the ability of going into portrait mode. Hasselblad, the high resolution in here built in to be able to leverage the high quality. Just for reference overall, the cameras on the Find X9 Pro are defaulted in good lighting to shoot at 50 megapixel out of the box. If you wanted to turn that off and just shoot in standard 12, you do need to go into the settings and change that. The Hasselblad teleconverter, this is a specific mode to have once you have that converter in there. After that, under more, you'll notice we have night, panorama, pro mode, slow motion, time lapse, long exposure, of course, dual view video, underwater, because we do have IP69 rating in here, or up to IP69, sticker, text scanner, and of course dock scanner and expand mode, which is absolutely fantastic. But let's not waste any time. Let's go outside real quick and do a quick test of the front facing and the main sensor on the back, as well as the teleconverter lens, and see how we're able to use external audio to leverage our experience on the Find X9 Pro. So we're going to start off with the front-facing camera on the Find X9 Pro. The biggest benefit here obviously is 4K 60 frames per second is supported in here. We also have HDR and some pretty decent stabilization. What I really love is some of the capabilities that we can do now with the camera system in the back. Not just leveraging the sensors that we have built into the device, the 200 megapixel, the 50 megapixel cameras and all of that. But we can shoot 4K 120 now and be able to capture those moments where, an example over the weekend, I was at a 5K race for my son and I was able to capture the starting point for the 5K 5K race, and to be able to record it at 4K 120 means I can actually slow it down with such high fidelity at 4K that it makes it absolutely fantastic for remembering and reliving that moment. But without, shuttering all the experience there, obviously, this is pretty much what you should expect from a device in this class. There's many years of improvements that we've been getting there. Okay, we're switching it over now to the main sensor on the back. 4K 60, 4K 30, and 4K 120 are capable there. The telephoto can also support 120 or 4K 120. The 4K 60 frames per second is technically supported on all of the lenses, even with the telephoto lens extension. That's actually the maximum focal length, even though we're able to do 4K 120 when we're doing it without the lens extension. So it depends on how you're shooting it. But the main benefit here is the capabilities, the color science, and of course the ability of shooting really good content on the Find X series or the Find X9 Pro device. Let's go ahead and switch over now to the telephoto lens with the extension. I'm actually going to go stand right back there and position the camera all the way at the door to my backyard. Right now we're using the telephoto lens on the X9 Pro. We're also using the lens attachment that comes with the photography kit. One of the other things that I really like about this is that if you do end up picking up basically the PGOY Tech grip, which is sold separately if you're buying it internationally, depending on how the system gets set up, it also comes with a remote shutter, which means I'm able to actually start and stop my video directly from where I'm standing. But the benefit here is at the basic minimum focal length, right now with the camera attachment, I'm actually recording audio and video all the way on the other side of the backyard. I'm actually positioning the camera by the door to my backyard and I'm standing all the way in the back. And I wanted to make sure, just give you guys a quick sample of what the audio and video is when you want to record things a little bit more professionally. One of the biggest benefits of using the teleconverter lens kit that we have in this system is the ability of being in the moment and shooting content and being a creator without having to lose the quality. We're not losing quality as far as optical, because we're getting that with the lens extender. And you can jump in between 3 different focal lengths that provide you the experience to just basically get to the subject in there. And one of the main benefits, of course, is using something like this at a sporting event where I'm sitting in the bleachers and I'm able to actually get in and get those close-up shots of the field while my son was performing during his band performance, which was absolutely great. Or even when I was at the 5K run for here over the weekend as well, or even leveraging sporting events where you need to be able to get that reach but don't necessarily have the ability of getting up all the way up front with the talent or people that are starting a race. So it's absolutely great. Let's go ahead and do a quick speaker test here. This is Alex Crindo Jumbo by NCS Release. Jack it up. Sounds really good, gets loud enough, a little bit of a bass effect to it, but definitely not distorted at the 100%. Again, we're playing it really, really nice and loud. One of the things I really like about, the ColorOS implementation of ColorOS 16 is, let's go ahead and play the music. I just want to show you how to play. So we're going to lower the volume here. And let's say we swipe the player going away. The player is actually positioned here directly around the island at the top. Very much the same experience. So let's say if I went in here and I went into a stopwatch and started a stopwatch, I'm going to reduce it. It actually sits over there. And you're able to leverage moving between the different elements in here. You can actually swipe them away, bring them back, click it, go back into the experience that you want, click them away. And of course, if you want to be able to stop the music, pause the music. I want to stop the timer, swipe it away if you want to be able to get rid of it actually. And then of course, we can just put it away and put it back in here. The toggles are customizable. We have now also a nice option for the torch option to be able to change the brightness level. Turning it on by default automatically turns you to 50% or the medium level. Of course, you can go all the way to 100%. And then of course, turning it off at the bottom. What I like about it as well is that we also have the ability of seeing the battery level in here for the different experiences that you're connected. So these are the Ray-Ban Meta glasses that I'm using right now. I can see the battery level, it's connected. Audio device settings, I can customize that. Very simple little cues and little experiences that makes this experience even better. Now on the side here, we still have that launcher that we can customize. We have the ability of adding different options in here. And again, one of my favorite features in here is the ability of, let's say, opening an article here. Bring in this article, but I don't want to necessarily read the entire thing. I'm just going to ask it to summarize the entire article for me. It's going to go through, scan the entire article with ads or without ads. It doesn't actually care for that. It goes through the main page and cuts the whole thing out. Well, once it's done summarizing the entire article, you're actually able to jump into a more concise or maybe compact. I'll go ahead and say, give me a compact version of it, and it's going to summarize it and give us a much more smaller experience. Leverage it also. You can also use the one that says AI Speak. It will read the entire summary for you. So let's say you're in the car, you don't want to listen, you don't want to read an article, you definitely want to listen to it. Turn it on and it'll play it for you in the car. And not only that, it'll start reading it for you, playing the audio for you. And even if you go home, you'll notice that it actually sits on the side and continues reading the article for you. We also have that customization that I talked to you guys about, the mind space. All you have to do is basically click on it once and it'll go ahead and take a screenshot and automatically recognize it and put it in there. Double press it twice, it'll take you directly into Mindspace, and you can actually see the experiences of the different documents that you've scanned, and you can customize the experience. It scans it in, it gives it a second, goes through, and it starts giving us a little bit of a narration of what it is that is on this picture. And of course, if you just want to be able to do circle to search, press and hold in here, circle to search, that works just the way you'd expect it. You know, all of the Google Gemini functionalities in here, regular Gemini, obviously Speak, Video Gemini, all of those are very nice, very functional. Now, when it comes down to the gaming experience and what you should expect with this device, this is literally running the top of the line experience. 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of internal storage, running 120 hertz refresh rate. This is Call of Duty Mobile, as you can imagine. And of course, under graphics, we're able to run it at ultra with medium settings as far as the greatest capability there. We also have obviously the game launcher, or the game system that we have in here, and we can definitely change the performance from balanced to pro gamer. Switch it on, gives you access to the highest refresh rate, highest capability, hyper boost engine, also turn that on in here. And when we go into the tools, we'll notice there's a new feature as well that is basically bypass charging. Now, this gives us the ability of actually leveraging the ability of charging our device or using our device without charging the battery. Reduces the amount of heat that the device is generating and using the battery so that it runs even longer, cooler. Obviously, you do need to be connected for this to work, and of course, gives you that best experience. We still have access to obviously the main eye comfort here, game assistant in here, of course, customization, hollow audio, of course, autoplay, mistouch prevention as well, quick startup in here, screen recording, screenshot, game capture as well, and of course system status that gives us the ability of seeing our FPS, our GPU and CPU performance during our gaming sessions. And of course, last but not least, again, you can customize if you want to be able to play the brightness in here as well as a media player on the side. Very, very nice. And of course, just again, leveraging what OPPO has been doing for many, many years, giving us great gaming experience on a very good camera system device. The main benefit of having a device like this, the Find X9 Pro really leverages what we loved about the Find X8 Ultra, the Find X8 Pro, and the experience of what we haven't been able to get before, which is a camera teleconverter kit that is a truly entirely built system to augment the performance of what we get in here. The 200 megapixel camera that we have on the telephoto lens absolutely rocks. It is one of my favorite lenses on this device, not just for content capture, but also for photography. It provides us that natural, basically bokeh effect that we get with the natural just blurriness that happens behind the subject. Portrait imagery from the front-facing sensor, even the main sensor on the back are absolutely great. The gaming, as you saw there, there's no question this is going to work really good. The charging bypass option is very nice. The performance option that we have the ability of customizing the profile just leverages everything. And just for reference, if you do need to get into that boost mode or the performance mode profile that we have in here, it's pretty straightforward. Go directly into the battery section and change the profile to performance. Just be aware that it does drain the battery a little bit faster. But I'll say this, at 7,500 milliamperes, I don't think you have to worry about anything. I think just turn on all the settings, keep everything on. You're not going to be able to drain this battery in one day. Literally one of the hardest things to do. Connectivity on this is absolutely great. The antennas that we have in here are absolutely fantastic. There is a spot for me whenever I drive home every day from work. I'll probably say that I always lose signal because of the way it's positioned between the hills. The Find X9 Pro has been able to consistently continue my conversations on phone calls without missing a beat and without dropping the call, providing me a much better experience than the Find X8 Pro. Although the Find X8 Pro did really well, I just feel like with the 9 Pro it's been working much better. I have better signal reception directly within buildings, especially for T-Mobile. It's a little bit of a sore subject for T-Mobile. That's where their weaknesses are a little bit. But overall, very, very nice. NFC connectivity, all of that stuff works great. When it comes down to the cameras, now this is where we're going to start talking about what does the system provide us. We're looking at a top of the line, the bare minimum is 50 megapixel cameras all across the front and the main sensors on the back. Of course, we go to the 200 on the telephoto. The teleconverter kit, I'll probably say, is it's not a necessary piece of tech for everybody. It's going to be only required really if you are, let's say, a parent or a content creator that need to have that functionality, being able to get that reach, but of course with the camera, without having to rely on digital, basically digital processing when we start going beyond the optical zoom lens that we have experience in there. So that's one of the benefits of having a teleconverter lens in here. It brings the subject closer without having you to move closer. So you don't have to do that legwork there. I love the fact that it's simple to connect a USB-C microphone to this and it'll just automatically recognize it, connect it into video and record. I'm actually able to use the PGY Tech camera, the grip, with a little bit of different experiences. Not only leveraging the 3000 milliampere built into it, using the remote shutter, but also using it as a grip or even as just a stand for my phone. So there's a lot of functional options in there. And the images that you're looking at here are all the way from Shanghai, with me at New York, back here at a football game, as well as at a race that my son did recently during the weekend. It's been really, really nice, and I really enjoy the ability of shooting at 4K 120 with more options in here. The telephoto and the main lens both give us that experience. I love also the fact that overall the performance that we get in here is pretty consistent. The 9500 is definitely more powerful, more power efficient, as well as gives us the ability of having better connectivity with the modems that we have in there. So it's been performing at what I've expected and even more, and giving me very much experiences of the Find X8 Ultra, of course with the exception of having that 1-inch sensor, which we don't have in here. So overall, if you're looking for the best of what OPPO has to offer right now, the Find X9 Pro is where it is. From performance to experience to augmenting the level of obviously the photography that they put out there, and of course getting the best experience. For me, I think obviously there's that special edition that comes with the kit from OPPO for the PGY Tech, but if you want to pick it up by itself, I'll give you guys links in the description below to not only the PGY Tech, but also that extension that gave you guys that extra light that we have in there. That kit, for some reason, it makes perfect sense. You get MagSafe to connect to your phone with really strong magnets, and again, it holds it with the lens attached on there with the case, so you could see how strong that is. And of course you can add an additional light with that little mirror so that you can see yourself when you're basically trying to be a content creator and recording content from a distance at least. So with that being said, I want to say thank you very much to OPPO for allowing me to check out the Find X9 Pro, and of course sharing with you guys my experience. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of this device? Are you as excited as I am about this? And of course, what would you like me to cover even more in future videos as well? And of course, as always, thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.